Hello Viceroys, welcome to the channel, and for my fellow subscribed comrades, welcome to a new game guide series. In this guide we're going to explain the UI elements and keyboard shortcuts for this game. The video will be long, as it covers everything in depth, but every single topic has its own YouTube chapter, so feel free to skip ahead to whichever topic or subtopic you want to see. Let's see the topics. Firstly, the map UI, Smoldering City UI, Expedition Panel, and the in-game UI. Before going further, remember to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel to stay updated with guides or let's plays, and comment down below with tips I might have missed. I read all of your comments and will make a pin to the top of the video for each single tip that I've missed. Let's start off firstly with the map UI. Starting with the map itself firstly, in the center you have the Smoldering City. On the edges you've got all the surrounding hexes that you can caravan to, so you can build the settlements. Around your caravans and a little bit from the Smoldering City you can see randomized events which you will want to complete for extra resources, like this one over here, the statue of the forefathers. Also, you can press the Alt button to see in what direction the seals are, so you can make your way to them. For example, over here we have the Cobalt seal. On this side we got the Adamite seal, and over here we also got the Titanium seal. Also, they are duplicated on the map, so you will have two of each in other directions. Then let's start going clockwise with the UI elements. On the left side we got the Tutorials panel, which is quite tucked in and hidden. Whilst they aim to teach you about the game, they aren't that useful to begin with, but I do recommend to take a gander at them. Afterwards, you've got your stockpiles, namely food, machinery and artifacts. These are used in the Smoldering City upgrades and sacrificing them on very high difficulty levels for different kind of benefits. Then you've got the shortcut buttons, namely the Smoldering City, the daily expeditions and the training expeditions. Afterwards you've got the seal fragments. These are used to lock seals in place, which is the main goal of the game in the end. Each seal will require a specific number of fragments in order to complete. Then you got the options button, which can also be accessed by hitting the escape button. Going further, we have the end current cycle button. This one is useful once you have completed a seal to progress to the next stage of the game, or if you ran out of cycles or time in the game. This will help you reset the map in order to restart your progress. In later guides, we will use this function to go through the upgrades path as fast as possible. Then we got the cycle progress. This is useful to reset the progress towards a seal. You can also take advantage of the reset if you're hunting machinery and artifacts, but that's for another guide to discuss about it. Let's go a bit in the Smoldering City UI. In here, you've got the highest reforged seal you have reached, the stats on experience and the level you are at, and then you've got the Buy Upgrades button. In this panel, this is very important to have the upgrades, as each upgrade node in here will provide both a passive bonus and an active bonus. For example, starting from the very bottom, you've got this upgrade, Obsidian Archive level 1. On this one, you got a permanent minus 2% to the speed at which the Queen's Impatience grows, and as an active, you can also have the deeds unlocked with the Obsidian Archive. Then you've got deeds. Deeds are literally the achievements you can have in game. Some of them are directly connected to your Steam achievements, while others only unlock decorations, give you experience points, or also unlock different things apart from decorations and experience. Then you have your daily expeditions. Basically, these are a one-time per day event. Daily expeditions offer food, machinery, and artifacts, and also experience. They have some crazy modifiers that change the way the game is played. For example, for this one, at the time of recording it, there's only 6 minutes left, but you start off with humans and frogs, and you got weird conditions that are not present in the main game. For example, this Advent of Flame, where Impatience will grow 4% slower for each person that has religion fulfilled. The same for Barren Wastelands, where there's absolutely no fertile soil, and you also start with 80 patience points. You can set the difficulties over here and other good shenanigans. I do recommend them to do it once per day, since they do offer machinery and artifacts which are great for upgrading your levels in the Citadel itself. Afterwards, you got training expeditions over here. You don't get anything for this, just experience in the game itself without having any progression. And basically it's more of a sandbox game that I'm gonna use to do the guides on. The last tab is related to game history. This will show you all of the games that you have, the blueprints you have unlocked, how you have played in the past, etc. And also you're going to see all of the Citadel upgrades over here regarding to villager speed, the trader arrival speed, and other stuff like that. And that kinda covers the Citadel itself. There's also the home button, which is more of an RPG style thing where all your trophies and stuff are present, and also Aunt Lori is over here, which is the Queen's Hand. Your target is to also become the Queen's Hand in the future. Anyway, saying goodbye to Aunt Lori, going back to the map itself. Whenever you're starting a new settlement or a new expedition, you can click on the hex that you want to go, and then you have the expedition map. You don't have all of these embarkation bonuses from the beginning, and you don't have all of these starting caravans from the beginning. These need to be unlocked via upgrades, something that we're gonna discuss in future guides. But for now, you got the caravans, which will show you up to 2 pre-selected races, and then you have the summary related to the map you are going to play on, the amount of fertile soil and the length of the map, and also rewards. Also the conditions. You have some additional effects that are present on the map itself or modifiable by the world map modifiers. For example, if I'm going to start near the statue, you're gonna see that at conditions, the statue is added over here together with the map modifiers. It also shows you the natural resources and what the trees will give you once you chop them up. Regarding to the map, each map has its own natural resources and its own tree rewards. We're not going to go through these here, but later in the future guides. You can also select the difficulty that you're going to play on. you have difficulty starting from Settler up to Prestige 20. I haven't yet unlocked Prestige 20, but it's something I'm working on. Apart from this, at the summary over here, you're going to notice that each individual difficulty will increase the rewards. Basically, if you're gonna start on Settler, you have the worst rewards possible. Then Pioneer increases them a bit, and somewhere around Veteran and Viceroy are one of the highest rewards. Then going into Prestiges, the rewards will slowly start to increase, not by much. As you can see over here, each prestige level adds some kind of a small reward. There are some prestige levels where you can progress fast, and the downsides of the prestige won't be that hardcore. For example, on Prestige 6, I usually like to play to advance really fast through the game and not have that many drawbacks. At later prestiges, you're going to have a lot of downsides. For example, at Prestige 16 that I have right now, all of the previous modifiers are present, and also the Prestige 16 modifier, which you have one fewer blueprint to start with. Of course, higher prestiges mean higher rewards, but at the same time, higher chances of failing due to the downsides you are having. That's why, from my point of view, you should focus firstly on upgrading your Citadel to the maximum level before going into prestiges. Then you can select from here some embarkation stuff. Make sure you don't jump over the required embarkation points, and then you can click embark to start your adventure. Let's now discuss about the in-game UI. Each time you start a settlement, you're going to have this UI firstly. In this one, you're gonna see the bonuses that you have during the Drizzle season and the negative effects that you're going to have during the storm. And also you can see the additional effects over here, which will be the prestige effects, the map modifiers, and the world modifiers. Afterwards, we're going to go in the same direction pattern, meaning clockwise. Starting on the left, you got the race panel. Each game you start with 3 races in total for each single playthrough. Under each icon, you have the race's happiness, or resolve in this case. There are only 2 important features you need to take care of here. 1. To keep your resolve above 0. At 0 or negative resolve, the specific species will start leaving your settlement. This might have a negative impact on the game, but it might have a positive impact on your game. Depends on the situation itself. For example, you might have some world quests where you need to force your villagers to leave the settlement. Or you might want to use the villagers that are leaving the settlement as an increase to the Queen Impatience, which in turn will decrease the hostility level. But that is a bit later during this guide. Anyway, only focus on keeping the resolve above 0 and above the reputation threshold. Anything in between is completely useless and won't help you at all with anything. Moving forwards, you've got the number of villagers from the specific race that you have, then the free villagers, or also called builders, and also villagers without a house. Also, hovering on the race's portrait will give you the speciality of that race and what their starting ability, passive abilities, and stuff like that are in place. Also, a keyboard shortcut you can use to control your villagers is with the Alt key. This allows you to quickly assign or unassign villagers to working areas. For example, at the moment I can see that the Ancient Heart has a lizard in it. I can click with the humans and replace it with a human. Moreover, I can use the scroll wheel of my mouse to switch between the race's portraits. For example, right now I can replace it with a beaver at the ancient heart. For now, we're going to leave it as lizards. Then you've got the arrows. These arrows, you can use them to expand in order to see the needs of your citizens. Each species, except for frogs, has a basic housing need, which can be accommodated with shelters and basic shelters. Then you've got your food, then clothing, and also services need. Each race has different food, clothing, and services need. Some of them also interact with each other. For example, the coats are needed both for beavers and humans. The pie is needed for humans and lizards. So each time there are intersecting races. We're going to discuss more on this when we're doing the race guide. But until then, that's all you need to know. Apart from this, there is also a summary of all of the positives or negatives that affect your resolve. And the last button is favoring. Do not ignore the favoring button. It's extremely important to favor a species, especially at the very beginning when you're getting your first reputation points, as this will completely save up some time of the years when you can actually have the lizards carry the reputation points over here. Afterwards, at the top over here is the number of villagers you have in your entire village, the amount of free workers, and also the housing status for all of the species. Moving forwards, we got the water tanks. Basically, these are collected via the Rainpunk system. It's something we're gonna discuss in later videos. Just know that they exist over here. Then you have the tracked goods. These are where all of your goods will show up once you have collected them. You can actually track them by going to the main warehouse, clicking on it, right clicking on it, and then click the track button. You can also do the track by just left clicking on it by itself. Apart from this, you got food over here. Not all the food will always appear. It will only appear if you can produce it or you have bought it at minimum once in your game. Then you got the building materials. These are used to build all of your buildings. Then you got the consumable items. These are usually either clothing or scrolls or stuff that are needed for your services. Afterwards, you got the raw resources crafting or the intermediate resources like flour and dye. Then you got the trade goods. All of these are highly expensive items which are worth selling to the traders or via the trading routes, and also fuel in your settlement. In here, basically these are used either for exploring the grades or fueling your hearth. You can always click on the resource itself and it will go to the recipe. Similarly, you can click over here at the villagers on a specific product and it will go to the recipes tab. If no recipe appears over here, it means you cannot produce it. You can click the show all button to see where this said recipe is being produced. You got two things over here. You got the product and also the ingredient. When you're switching between them, you're gonna see them either as product, wherever it's produced, or wherever it's being used, or later down the line. Moving on with explaining, you have the year tile. This holds the year you are in, or cycle it's called. Afterwards, you got the hostility modifier, where you can see things that increase or decrease hostility. As you can see, Hearts and Queen's Impatience will decrease hostility, whilst the number of villagers, woodcutters, and the number of opened grades will increase hostility. Similarly for the number of years that are passing. In the center, you also have the type of season you are in. There are a total of 3 seasons. There's Drizzle, where you can get the bonuses. Then you have the Clearence, where you are harvesting stuff that you have planted. More on that in the later videos. Then you got the Storm, where all of these negatives will occur. Apart from this, there is also a Woodcutter button that will allow you to quickly assign or deassign woodcutters from the woodcutting posts. So let's plug down a woodcutter. And now, as you can see, because I have the woodcutters in place, my hostility level rose to 96, and also I can click this button to directly unassign every single woodcutter. You can right click this to assign a woodcutter. I have noticed that the game will prefer to equally spread the woodcutters across your woodcutter camps that you have in place, and also will try to prefer beavers firstly versus other races. However, if you don't have any beavers, they will randomly pick up any free workers. You can also use the middle mouse button to start removing woodcutters from your woodcutter station. This is especially important during the storm season, because you want your hostility during the storm season to be as low as possible. So you're going to unassign all of the woodcutters, and once everything is back running in Drizzle, you're going to simply start assigning back the woodcutters that you deassigned before. Below everything else, you got the speed dials. You have the pause, which is also space by default to resume or pause the game. Then you have the continue, the normal speed, which also as a shortcut has the key number 1. Then you got 1.5 speed, which is key number 2. Key number 3 is 2x, and key number 4 is 4x speed. Afterwards, you have the positives and negatives. Positives always happen in Drizzle season. For example, for me, during the depletion of gathering nodes, during Drizzle season, they're gonna spawn fertile soil. And the other one is I'm gaining 0.5 reputation for each dangerous completed during the Drizzle season. By the way, these are completely random. Then you got the negatives, which are also completely random except for the Looming Darkness. This one will be present in every single game, and for each hostility level, -4 to global result. Then you have the others that happen at random hostility levels. For example, this one happens at hostility 2, 3, and 7. Moving forward, there are some extra UI buttons that help you navigate to certain things. Please note that at the beginning of the game you will not have access to some of these buttons. For example, consumption and trading is something that you will need to unlock via upgrades. Anyway, starting off with the first button, the Cornerstone or the buffs button. These you get one at the beginning of the game, and also one each year from there on. Please note that in odd years like 1, 3, 5, 7, you get only epic cornerstones to pick from. So make sure you save the rerolls for later, because on even years, you get only legendary cornerstones. So for example, this is year 1's cornerstones and all of them are epic. Let's pick randomly one. And then this is the year 2's cornerstones, and these will all of them be legendary. These are very useful to reroll depending on the plan you're making for your settlement. It is also beneficial to just leave them to accumulate over here, just to get firstly a feel on the glades that you have opened in order to see what's in there. Maybe the cornerstones that are offered over here might be completely useless, or they might be game breaking. Who knows? You're gonna find out, because this game is very random. Anyway, moving on to the next button, which usually gets tucked in the corner, is the Newcomers button. In here, these are the new villagers that will arrive to your city each single amount of time. There are ways to boost for them to come faster or also come slower. It depends. Anyway, don't start just accepting everyone in your city. That is a no-go, because you might not have enough food, and also, as notified before, the amount of villagers will increase the amount of hostility. So only accept villagers whenever you need workers. If they're gonna sit on their asses and do nothing, then they will be completely useless. Then you have the orders. This is one of the ways to get reputation in order to win the game. At the beginning of the game, you're going to have 3 of them. Then others will unlock depending on the time you're spending in the game. Then you got trading and trade routes. It will need its own guide to cover, but just know they exist for now. It's also a core part of the game which will help you progress and win the game. Moreover, there are cornerstones that also benefit from trading a lot. Afterwards, you got the Recepies Panel. We already touched on it, but basically over here you can search for every single item you have. You got the product and you got it as an ingredient. So for example, for fabric, I can see exactly where it's produced, and I can see it also where it is used. Currently, it's only used in the makeshift post. If you're interested to see everything, you can click the Show All button. Another useful thing is the minimum reserve over here. For example, the best scenario where you're going to have to use it is at wood. At wood, when you're producing a lot of wood, you also have industries that will use wood either for producing planks, scrolls, tools, potteries, or coals or stuff. Basically, you can reach a scenario when wood is so used that you're gonna start the storm with 0 wood, and that's a dead end. Basically, you won't have resources to fuel your hearth during the storm season when your woodcutters are inactive. So what I like to do is to make sure that I always have a minimum reserve of 20 wood in my stockpile. That should be enough to cover the stormy season and reach the next drizzle season without too much of a hassle. By having a minimum reserve, it means that the workers will not pick up the wood to start producing stuff. So lumber, for example, planks, they won't be produced if I have less than 20 wood. However, the hearth will continue using wood even if I am at 10 wood, for example. Afterwards, the next button is the consumption button. In here, basically, you can limit the amount of food or services or clothing each race has access to. Please note that for everything, if you ban a favorite good, like jerky in this case, you're going to have the resolve impacted for them, basically getting negative resolve. You can also ban everything for a specific species to force them to leave your settlement. Please note that you can also be sneaky and only ban food for your specific villager, and this will allow them to basically still stay in your settlement but die of hunger. Also, make sure that you also are banning the raw food for that specific race. One of the last buttons is the Trends button, which helps you figure out where your resources are being used. For example, I can see that the wood came from the woodcutter's camp. To be honest, I haven't used that much this panel. Usually I use it whenever I see that my wood is in a huge decline and I'm not sure where it is being used. This will show me exactly where it's being used and why. The last button is the menu button, where you can abandon your current settlement, save and quit, or play around with the options. Anyway, you got the orders over here, and way more down you got the Blight Rod. This is a side effect of Rainpunk. I won't go too much into detail at the moment, but basically keep it under 100% and you're safe. The next thing is Queen's Impatience. Basically, if it reaches the maximum amount, you're going to have the game ending over there. Moving forwards, we have the Reputation. In here, you're going to see blue diamonds. These blue diamonds mean that a new blueprint will be rewarded. And also, in higher difficulties, you're going to have red diamonds. In those red diamond situations, you can sacrifice some of the Citadel goods, if you remember the ones that we've talked before, food, machinery and artifacts, in order to gain a new overpowered cornerstone. To be honest, I have used the sacrificial altar a bit, but I don't highly recommend using it. It depends on your game. Maybe on very high difficulties, you're gonna find a use for it. It's all situational. The last button over here is the Blueprints button. In here, you have a selection of blueprints that will help you progress the village further. Now, don't go directly and randomly pick everything from here. You have very few amount of blueprints and they are hard to come by. So make sure that these decisions are made in an educated fashion. Basically, don't start selecting everything from here until you open your first glades, see what's inside, and see how it can match with the blueprints over here. For example, if my first glade that I'm opening will have some fertile ground, then I might consider taking the herb garden. However, if it has large resource nodes, I might consider getting the herbalist's camp instead. Or if I want to go completely crazy, maybe the distillery or the druid's hut. It highly depends over here. Afterwards, you've got the buildings. Over here, starting off with the road. The roads help your villagers move faster. There are 3 types of roads, each one having an increase in speed. The normal path grants 5%, the paved road grants 15%, and the reinforced roads grants 25%. Even if you only have paths in your settlement, you can buy from the traders upgrades that increase by 10% the villager's speed across the paths. Then you've got the resource acquisition buildings, basically the woodcutter hunters camps and the other camps. Also the mine, the rain collector and the geyser pump. In regards to over here, usually I only go for the woodcutter's camp in here, since all other camps from over here can be easily accessible by just clicking on the resource you want, and then you can see exactly which camp is needed. You don't need to click the resource acquisition camp to get the resources from here. Then you've got the food production buildings. These will be randomized based on the blueprints decision you have made. Afterwards, you got the housings, the basic shelters. Usually you start off with the first one. And via upgrades, you can unlock the big shelters, the human houses, the beaver houses, or the lizard houses. Be very careful, at the very beginning you won't have access to these houses. It's not worth to unlock the houses via blueprints. Always rush the upgrades via the Smoldering City upgrades and use them from there, since once you have unlocked them there, they are permanently unlocked in the game without wasting blueprints. Afterwards, you got the industries tab where you can build the crude workstations, the makeshift post, and then all other randomized buildings. Then you got the city buildings. Over here you can extend the number of hearts you got, also build small warehouses, a trading post, and a blight post to hunt down the blight that you will have in the city during the storm. That's for another video. Afterwards, the last tab is related to decorations. These decorations are great to upgrade the hearts level. For example, for level 1, you're going to need 8 houses and 4 decorations. Usually my favorite decorations are the park, the garden, and the marble fountain, because these all grant directly 4 decorations. They also occupy 4 spaces. The other ones occupy only one single space and use the same amount of resources. So if you want to mix and match and make your village beautiful, you can use the others. However, for being optimal, you can directly use the park, the fountain, and the garden. Before moving forward, has a shortcut for almost everything. Almost, because decorations are not included over here. You can go into settings, into options, and key bindings. In here you have a set of building shortcuts. For example, I've set my woodcutter's camp to W, pathing for Q, trading post on E, and blight post on S. Basically, these 4 buildings are always present in every single game for me, so I can shortcut them easily. Also, remember, if you do this, to remove the shortcuts for cameras and other stuffs where the letters that you assign here are present. Basically, the game doesn't show you any warning if the key is duplicated, so be very careful over here. The last element that we're going to discuss is the wood marking. You can press F or click this button in order to start marking an area for your woodcutters to cut them. In case you need to unmark it, you can press this button or hit G. Apart from this, being in a specific mode, you can hit Alt and it will change to the other mode. So for example, unmarking right now, hitting Alt, and now I can mark the area. Moreover, when you are marking the area over here, it's quite finicky to try and mark only some trees that you want to be cut down. For example, over here, if I want to reach this glade on a timely manner, I can just make it so it only has a single rows of trees affected. So now my woodcutters will reach the glade area within 3 trees. However, there's another more fancy way to do it. Basically, you can have the mark trees and hold the shift button. And now it's only on squares. So I can individually select each single tree that I want to be cut down. Apart from this, when marking areas, I might want to avoid glades. Therefore, I can hit the control button, and whenever I'm marking around here, as you can see, even if I go in circles whilst holding the control button, it won't also mark the trees that will open the glade. If I leave the control button down, I can see that now I can mark them. Also, apart from this, you can have key combinations. So for example, if I want to mark specific trees and also avoid the glades, I can use Shift and Control at the same time, and it only marks accurately the trees nearby. This will be very useful in some maps where trees actually grant you hostility. We're gonna discuss that in later guides. And the very last button, which can be accessed with the key shortcut V or clicking the UI over here, is the Destroy button. This will basically destroy the buildings that you are having around. When destroying a building, you are going to get all of the materials back, with no exception. There's only one catch over here. If the building you are targeting has resources inside it, like for example this woodcutter camp, if I delete it right now, all of these resources over here will be completely lost. So make sure you firstly force the delivery, remove all the ingredients, and barely afterwards delete the building, or you will end up in a very bad place. The last thing that we're gonna cover from the UI is the cornerstones that you already have selected, or the active events that you have in here. In case you have forgotten any of them, you can hover and read what on earth they are doing. And that's all about the UI of this game. Remember to hit that like button, share the video with your friends that are interested, and remember to subscribe for further guides, since this is only the first guide that I'm releasing. Well, until next time, I'm the Honey Badger and I'm out.